major issues. Let me put this one right up on the table. The scientists have told us, and I'm on the Environmental Committee and the Energy. What they have said is, A, climate change is real. Climate change is significantly caused by human activity. Climate change today, in terms of drought and forest fires and flood and rising sea levels and extreme weather disturbances. That climate change today is already causing devastating problems in this country and all over the world. And if we do not get our act together and significantly cut greenhouse gas emissions and transform our energy system away from fossil fuel and into energy efficiency and sustainable energy, the situation will become much, much worse. And here is the good news. That's the bad news. And what is really embarrassing, and I want to say this very seriously, you know, we all have Republican friends, and we disagree with Republicans, and that's fine. It's called American democracy. But there is something that I find hard to believe and embarrassing. Republicans do not argue about the science of cancer research. They want cancer research to go forward because their wives and their husbands get cancer. And they don't argue about the science of heart disease. But because of the money of the fossil fuel industry, we have an entire party in Washington, D.C. that rejects the science of climate change. And that is an international embarrassment. And the good news is that, I'll give you just an example. In a town in Rutland, Vermont, town in my state, we are weatherizing 1,000 homes. We're cutting fuel bills by 32%. We're cutting greenhouse gas emissions significantly, and we are creating jobs. You do that all over this country, you can create millions of jobs through weatherization, energy efficiency, wind, solar, geothermal, biomass. That's what we've got to do. Another issue of huge consequence impacts every state in this country. I held a press conference a week ago, beginning of this week on Monday, on the high cost of college debts. I had with me 5 young people. Young woman who is a physician in a community health center in Burlington, Vermont. She is now over $300,000 in debt for the crime of getting an education and going to medical school. The average kid in this country is somewhere around $29,000 in debt. You go to graduate school, it's a lot higher than that. In a competitive global economy, let me be very radical and suggest that we want the best educated workforce in the world. And you don't have that educated workforce by making it impossible for young people to go to college.
That's right.
Countries in Scandinavia and elsewhere, you know what they say? They say they want all of their kids who have the ability to be able to go to college. College is free in many of those countries. My belief is that the day has got to come where we treat college the same way we treat high school right now. We've got to invest in our young people and make sure that every person in this country is able to get the education they need regardless of the income of their families. A word on another issue of huge consequence. Not a whole lot of Americans know, and the media does an abysmal job in this area, that we are the only country in the industrialized world that does not guarantee health care to all people as a right of citizenship. Now, I voted for the Affordable Care Act, of which 10, 15 million more people today now have health insurance. It's a step forward. But in my view, let me be very frank with you, it does not go anywhere near far enough.
That's right.
the simple questions that we have to ask with regard to healthcare. First, should healthcare be a right of all people or just a privilege? In my view, and I think the opinion of most Americans, is everybody in this country, regardless of income, should be entitled to healthcare as a right, not a privilege. And if we accept that premise, that all of us should be treated equal, whether we're rich or poor, and get access to the best quality healthcare the system has to offer, then we have to figure out how we do it in the most cost-effective way. Right now, not only are we the only country in the industrialized world not to guarantee healthcare to all people, we end up spending almost twice as much per capita on healthcare as any other nation. Because the function of private health insurance companies is not to provide quality healthcare in a cost-effective way. It is to make as much money as they possibly can. So let me be straightforward with you and tell you that you are looking at a United States Senator who believes in a Medicare for all single-payer program. I see one or two of you agree. Now, when we talk about power in America, and when we talk about the criminal justice system, funny thing happens. On Wall Street right now, you should know this. We bailed out the largest financial institutions in the country because they were, quote unquote, too big to fail, remember? Yeah. And the feeling was that if they went under, they would take much of the economy with them. That's why other members of Congress voted for that bailout. I myself did not. Yeah. And I remember the Secretary of Treasury, I was new in the Senate at that time, I'll never forget this. And he came into the room and he said, with Ben Bernanke and the Treasury, and they said, look, we have a real crisis, you gotta bail out. And I said, Mr. Secretary, your friends on Wall Street caused this crisis. And if you want to bail it out, get the money from them and not from working families. Yeah, babe. In any case, today, 5 out of those 6 largest financial institutions are today bigger than they were today than when we bailed them out. Listen to this. These 6 financial institutions today own assets equivalent to 60% of the gross domestic product of the United States. 6 financial institutions. 2 points to be made. Number one, if they are too big to fail, they are too big to exist. We got to break them up. Second of all, if we have more people in jail than any other country on earth, we have kids who are smoking dope ending up in jail, it seems to me a little bit strange that the CEOs of some of these financial institutions, whose greed and recklessness and illegal behavior cause suffering in this country for tens of millions of people, that not one of them is behind bars. And the question is, and this is a serious question, is our criminal justice system capable of bringing the heads of large financial institutions to justice? And I'm not sure that it is. I'm not sure that it is. Let me conclude. Gina's getting nervous here. She wants to hit you up for some money. I'm taking away her time for doing that. And I hope you will help her make her evening successful. Let me conclude by saying this. I've given you, my wife always tells me, she says, you know, after you speak, people need tranquilizers. You depress everybody. You got a note of optimism, so I will give you a note of optimism.
Run for president.
And I want to say a word about that too. And Iowa should be proud of its role. And here's what I want to say. History is, you know, history, world history, American history has its ups and its downs. We are so proud of the genius of the founding fathers of this country. The Constitution they wrote was extraordinary. But we remember when they wrote it, we still had slavery in America. Women couldn't vote. People don't even know. Not even all white people could vote. White men couldn't vote. You had to have property to vote. Okay? That was the society. But at its time, you know, Jefferson and Adams and all these guys were really brilliant people. Took the world a step forward. And what we have had to struggle all of those years, not only the horror of slavery, we had to, wasn't until the 1920s that women had the right to vote. You know, not so long ago. There are women now whose mothers did not have the right to vote. When I was growing up, some of you, my age, were growing up in the southern part of this country, African Americans did not have the right to vote. Schools, restaurants were segregated. And who would have believed that in our lifetimes we elected not only an African American as president, but he was reelected. That says a lot about our ability to overcome the racism which existed in this country. And I will tell you, 10, 15 years ago, if you had said, you know what, state after state, including conservative states in this country, are going to be passing legislation which said it really doesn't matter if you're a man and a woman, or if you're two men, two women, but people who love each other have the right to marry. 20 years ago, 15 years ago, people said, you're nuts. You're nuts. That will never happen. It is happening today because America changed and overcome that type of homophobia and discrimination against gay people. So what we have seen in our lifetimes, in recent history, is huge changes in America on race. Do we have problems? Of course we do, in terms of women's rights. I understand, as well as anybody in this room, that women's rights are being attacked every single day all over this country. But let's remember that we still have made huge gains. When I was mayor of Burlington, back in the 1980s, we appointed the first woman as a police officer. Oh, it was a huge deal. Go to Washington, you're laughing. But go to Washington, I don't know, 30, 40, 50% of the police officers are women. It is no deal at all. Not so many years ago, there was one woman, Barbara Mikulski, only United States Senator. Today we have 19. And that number will go up and up and up. And the good news is that it becomes less of a big deal. In New Hampshire, you have 2 United States senators who are women and a governor's woman. You know what? Ain't a big deal. And that's what it should be. Because we should not be voting for people because they're men or women. We should be voting for them based on their ability. And we